Welcome to IVF This, episode 197, IVF and a Just World. Welcome to IVF This. I'm your host, Emily Ginn. After 10 years of primary and secondary infertility due to both male and female factor infertility, I am now the mother to 3 beautiful miracles. I am married to my favorite person in the world. I'm a social worker, a life coach, and an IVF warrior. I'm here to teach you how to manage your mind and emotions during your IVF journey, to break free from anxiety and regain control of your life, even in the midst of infertility. I'm going to teach you how to say IVF this to how we think about, talk about, and experience infertility. Let's go. Hello, my beautiful friends. I hope you're all doing so well today. We are diving straight in. One of the things that I talk about so often with really anyone that I meet and talk with in the infertility and IVF world, whether it's a potential client, a client, or just someone who contacts me and just to tell me that, they've listened to my stuff, that they like my stuff, and we just get into a casual conversation, is this idea that if effort guaranteed outcome, everyone doing IVF would have a baby by now. If showing up, taking your medications perfectly, advocating for yourself, researching clinics, eating the pineapple core or the pomegranate seeds, resting after a transfer, doing acupuncture, staying hopeful, staying positive, staying strong, if all of that worked like a formula, you probably wouldn't be listening to this episode, right? And yet, here you are. And I love you. I'm welcoming you. I love that you're here. I wish you were listening to me like recreationally instead of just trying to survive a very difficult time. But nonetheless, you are here. Still trying, still hoping, still doing everything you possibly can. And somewhere, maybe quietly, maybe loudly, there's a question. What did I do wrong? Today, we're going to talk about something that I don't think I've ever heard outside of me. I don't think I've ever heard anyone in the IVF or infertility space talk about, but it actually exists in nearly every corner of life, every corner of experience. And that is the Just-World Fallacy. And it really shines in like the worst possible way during infertility and IVF. So what is the Just-World Fallacy? It's a great question. I'm so glad you asked. The Just-World Fallacy is a cognitive distortion, a very common one. It's not rare at all, and it's not pathological. I did a whole episode on, I think I covered like 13 or 15 cognitive distortions, just kind of going over them. I believe the episode is called IVF and Cognitive Distortions, because I'm really creative that way. And I go give like broad strokes overviews of a bunch of different types. And there have been a few episodes where I've gone really in depth. Black and white thinking is another cognitive distortion that has its own standalone episode. And so this is another one of those examples. This is a standalone episode because it comes up so often. So again, the Just-World Fallacy. It is this belief that good things happen to good people. Bad things happen for a reason. And if I do things right, then life will reward me. And I think this type of thinking comes so naturally to all of us. It feels logical, right? It feels clean, it feels orderly, and we rarely stop to question it, if at all. And it fits beautifully into the black and white wiring of our brains. The way that our brain understands the world in which we live is very black and white. Effort in, outcome out. Cause, effect. It's structured, it's reassuring, it feels safe, but we do not live in a black and white world. We live in a gray, nuanced, and probabilistic one. And this distortion works beautifully in simple systems. It does not translate, however, to something as biologically complex and emotionally loaded as reproduction. Just world thinking is a deeply ingrained mental shortcut. I don't think most of us even realize we do it, right? Most of you have not even heard the term just world fallacy unless you had familiarity with cognitive distortions or had listened to that episode. You've probably heard me talk about how our brains are wired for pattern and threat detection. That is a seminal piece that I kind of weave in throughout nearly every single episode. But essentially, it's this idea that your nervous system is constantly scanning. What caused this? How do I prevent it? How do I feel safe? Even if that's not consciously what you're thinking. Uncertainty feels unsafe. Randomness, which is a big part of this, feels threatening. Lack of control feels vulnerable. So our brains look for a cause. And if we can't find one externally, something to point to and say, this is definitely the reason, it will, hear me when I say this, it will create one internally. Because the brain prefers a painful explanation over no explanation at all. Randomness leaves you exposed. Self-blame, as painful as it is, gives you something to hold. And IVF, especially IVF, looks controllable. It has protocols, dosages, embryo grades, lab reports, percentages, calendars. It feels scientific. It feels measurable. It feels like something that would ordinarily respond to quote unquote hard work. So your brain quietly concludes, if I follow all these steps, I will earn the result. And then when the result doesn't come, that belief gets flipped inward because the system can't be wrong, right? God knows the system can't be wrong. The protocol can't be wrong. The universe can't be unfair. So maybe I am. And that's where we get into trouble and start doubling down on our pain, when our pain turns to suffering. Blaming yourself can actually, and I know this sounds crazy, but stay with me. Blaming yourself can actually feel more stabilizing than accepting that randomness exists. If it was my fault, maybe I can fix it. If I didn't rest enough, if I rested too much, if I worked out too hard or not enough, if I should have cleaned up my diet sooner, if I should, when I should be drinking, if I should be drinking, how much I should be drinking, if I stressed too much, if I didn't meditate or didn't meditate enough, I chose the wrong clinic, I chose the wrong doctor, if I didn't advocate hard enough for myself, if I had done acupuncture, or maybe I shouldn't have done acupuncture, if I waited too long. And even that thought, because I want to stop real quick on that thought. Even that thought, as painful as it is your brain trying to convert probability into a moral mistake. It's hindsight pretending it was foresight, right? And hindsight does not mean you failed. But when IVF doesn't work, the just fallacy swoops in and says, you should have known, you should have seen this coming, and you should have and could have prevented this. Because again, if it's my fault, then maybe I can correct it. And correction feels like control. And control, probably heard me talk about this before, control feels like safety. Randomness feels helpless, and self-blame feels active. Even, and especially when it's brutal. Even if it keeps you up at night, going over every detail, every nuance, every question, everything that you've ever encountered on this journey. And there's another layer. If this didn't work because the world isn't fair, then that means that bad things can happen to responsible, loving, prepared, successful people. People who followed all of the rules, people who delayed gratification, women who built the career, got married, bought the house, and did everything quote unquote right. That's terrifying because it means effort does not guarantee protection. But if this didn't work because I messed something up, then the world is still fair. I just need to improve. I just need to become enough. This is the Just-World Fallacy, almost protecting itself, that it can still exist in your brain. It preserves the illusion that life operates like a reward system. Even if preserving that illusion requires you, because it often does, to turn on yourself. And here's the truth. When you keep scanning for what you did wrong, you're bargaining with chaos. There's a no-win scenario. And when you bargain with chaos, chaos does not negotiate. It's going to win. Now, I do want to hold some nuance because IVF is not pure chaos. Repeated egg retrievals do increase cumulative live birth rates. Multiple euploid embryos increase overall probability. Protocol adjustments can improve outcomes. Treating uterine factors can improve the odds of implantation. Donor eggs can significantly shift statistics. Medicine matters, science matters, data matters. Each cycle tells us something. Effort can influence odds, but odds are not guarantees, and probability is not morality. So, yes, continuing treatment often leads to cumulative likelihood, but people do not experience probability cumulatively. That's data. We experience these things sequentially, which means each failure feels absolute, even if the long-term math improves. When a cycle fails, it does not feel like a statistical progression. And in fact, if someone had said that to me when I had my failed transfer, I probably would have punched them in the throat, right? It feels like a loss because it is a loss. And the loss is very real. But it's not a verdict, not on your body, not on your effort, and most assuredly, not on your worth. Now, you know I love me some hope, and hope lives in probability. Hope says there's still a chance. But when hope fuses with just-world thinking, it starts to become if I try hard enough, if I believe correctly enough, if I optimize perfectly, I will get the baby. That is not hope. That is pressure designed to mimic hope. Real hope is not a contract. It is a willingness to keep showing up without guarantees, putting your heart on the chopping block and handing someone else the cleaver. It is staying willing, not because you're owed anything, but because you are brave enough to sit in uncertainty. When you notice the self-blame creeping in, the replaying, the scanning, the maybe if I had, this is a loop. I want you to try this. Step 1, I just want you to catch it. Whether you catch it in real time or 3 days later, no matter, we just want to become aware of it. And the way that we do that is just by catching it when we catch it. Okay? For all my perfectionists out there, we catch it when we catch it. The more you practice this, the earlier on you're going to catch it. But for right now, let's just catch it. I feel like you could probably have a drinking game based on just the phrase catch it, but here we are. So step 1 is to catch it. I'm in a what did I do wrong loop, right? Whatever verbiage fits there, right? I'm spiraling, I'm this, I'm that, or the other. Whatever works for you to be the trigger phrase, use it. Use it. You don't have to use my words. I want you to use your words because those are the things that's going to last and going to stick. But that's the idea. We want to catch it happening in real time or as close to real time or whenever we catch it, right? We're not handing out pass-fail grades here. It's just when it happens. Step 2, we're going to name it. Since this is ultimately about control, that's what we're going to talk about. My brain is trying to create an option for me to have control in a situation where we have a sliver of control. Step 3, I like to call the reality check. Is this something I truly controlled or could control, or am I turning probability against myself? Right? So this would qualify under the eating, the exercise, supplements, all the stuff that it starts with the egg. Even the old and the revised version talk about the BPA and the plastics, the fragrances, all of those things. That would fall under like a moral verdict, or could, I should say, fall under a moral verdict, right? Did this happen because I didn't take CoQ10? No, it didn't happen because you didn't take CoQ10. It happened because that was how it was going to happen. And that hurts and that's painful. But it was never anything that you did intentionally or neglectfully. Okay, so we got catch it, name it, and reality check it. Now the fourth one is you're going to anchor yourselves. Now this is something that I talk with every single one of my clients. Whenever we are kind of learning how we think about how we think, one of the best ways to do that is to create anchoring phrases. Okay, so an anchor phrase is really anything that brings you back to your present, right? So something like, and again, these are my words. I want, if they land for you, perfect. You can reword them however it works for you. But this was biology, not punishment. Self-blame is my nervous system looking for certainty. I did not cause this with a thought, a meal, or a moment. Unfair does not mean unworthy. I can survive uncertainty without turning on myself. You do not and cannot solve for the randomness. You just have to stop prosecuting and persecuting yourself for normal human things. If IVF operated in a just world, effort would equal outcomes, and you wouldn't be here. But reproduction is not a reward system. It is biology layered on probability, layered on immense complexity. Your outcome is not some sort of self-worth report card that you are receiving. Your follicle count, your fertilization count, your maturation account, none of those things have anything to do with you as a person. It's just the data that we're collecting, okay? You are not being graded. You are not being punished, even though that's what it feels like. Like, I'm never going to try to negotiate that it does not feel like a punishment. It absolutely feels like a punishment, but it's not. There's nothing that you have done in this life or previous lives that would account for the pain that you are experiencing now. It was never your fault. It was never your responsibility. This is just where we are. You deserve compassion in that place, not cross-examination. That's like the third or fourth law reference I've made. I'm kind of proud of myself right now. Okay, my beautiful friends, unfairness does not equal unworthiness. You are still worthy here, before here, future, all of it. Your worth is unchanged. Okay? Always, 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 always. And that is what I have for you this week. I hope you have a beautiful week. Be so gentle with yourself. Be so compassionate, so caring. This relationship that you have with yourself is the most important relationship of your life. Treat it with the care, the reverence, and the compassion that you and it deserves. All right. Take care. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of IVF This. If you like what you've heard, click subscribe and follow to make sure you don't miss an episode. And if you want to learn more, head over to www.ivfthiscoaching.com to learn how to work together.